Hey, I had no fucking inspiration and I literally had no idea for what I could post. So I thought, what if I make a red velvet vocal ranking? And because I'm stupid I just did it. So today we're gonna do a red velvet vocal ranking, no disclaimer needed because you know I won't just make up stuff. Let's go. Strengths. Yuri has a very bright tone and has a clear sound to it. Her voice is very youthful and kind-like, that makes it enjoyable. Her singing tone is very unique and is something we don't hear that often in K-pop. She has decent projection and knows the basics of support in her lower register. Weaknesses. The higher Yuri goes, the tighter her throat becomes. She has like this way of placing her voice in her throat when she gets in her mid-range where it can sound like she's stuck in her own throat. She has a bad placement when she goes higher and mostly places her voice in her nasal cavity that can give that nasal quality to her tone. Because she places her voice just solely in her throat, she can't really mix those higher notes that easily because it's just pulled chest voice. She doesn't use a balanced mix for the higher notes, but she did improve with her placement a bit. Strengths. Irene has a very developed lower register and good projection in her lower register. She uses more of a chesty but also balanced mix. She also sings very forward and has a great tone. She has great pitch and when she sings lower her support projection and placement is great. Weaknesses. If Irene could sustain her projection and support from her lower register with the same good placement, she could really be a great singer. But unfortunately when Irene goes higher she gets very nasal and places her voice solely in her nose, and that makes her tone quality very sharp and whiny. Strengths. Joy has a very unique tone and uses more of a heady and balanced mix. She has decent support in her mid-register and knows how to use her voice when she's singing mid-notes like A4s or B4s. And also has that wow factor about her voice. Weaknesses. Joy most likely stays very head dominant and that's why her lower register is more underdeveloped. When she sings lower she sounds like she's just talking and also gets airy if it are really low notes. She loses that character her voice has when she goes lower. When Joy goes higher she places her voice in her throat and because of that she can't fully sustain the notes without having like this wobbly and shaky sound. This is mostly seen in her umpa high notes. Strengths. Solji has a great amazing lower register. She can keep tone down to her lowest notes and never sounds like she's struggling or having a hard time. Her lower register is well connected and supported. Her mix also shows good support and shows that she can support up to the end of the 4th octave. Solji is developed in most registers and is a good lead vocalist. Her high notes are mostly clean. But here we go with the weaknesses. Weaknesses. When Solji goes higher she also places her voice in her nose, but she somewhat utilizes it better in comparison to Yuri and Irene. When she goes higher she completely loses her support, but she still has that power to her voice because she naturally has that fuller tone and weight to her voice. She also gets very sloppy with her runs and can't fully separate the notes, but she has done some good runs like in Dum Dum. Best vocalist. Sorry, I meant Wendy. Strengths. Wendy is another great SM vocalist. She's developed in literally every register. She keeps tone down to her lowest notes. She always stays connected and supported in her lower register. She supports her voice in every register and knows when to use her falsettos or head voice depending for which type of genre or music style she has to go with. She has great support in her mid-register and constantly improves her support. She also has a whistle register and a supported head voice register. She has great agility and vocal transitions. She is a very versatile and solid vocalist. Honestly, one of the best. Weaknesses. Wendy's biggest weakness is that she sometimes doesn't open the back of her throat fully to let the notes resonate. Her resonance is very inconsistent and isn't always there. She also gets shrill and kind strained in her head voice register in the 6th octave. Notes above E5 become strained and sound more shrill compared to when she supports. But Wendy is still a great vocalist. Well, that was my ranking. Please leave down your own ranking and share your own opinions with me. See you next time. Bye bye.